DreAllDay.com.
You're now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, no, we're not done. You need a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves anyone out there, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And we put all this together into one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one book, one masterclass, one framework. That's a hardcover book, by the way. And a university you can now enroll in, all with the goal of making sure you get the proper ROI. In other words, you get paid for your game. And this is all called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is scoreboards do not have opinions. Yes, you heard me correctly. Scoreboards do not have opinions. And I'm writing a caption for my Instagram story while I'm initially talking to you all, because sometimes I take a little video of myself doing that introduction of the show. So you would just pardon this delay that I'm giving right now while I'm making sure I get this caption up and this post onto my story. Some of you who follow my story, you've seen these, you wonder if I'm just staging that for Instagram. No, I don't stage anything. Anything I show you, I'm actually doing it. Anyway, all that being said, the reason why I'm talking about this topic is because I saw that the Grammy Award nominations, they come out like months before the actual Grammy Awards happen. And the Grammy Awards, at least as far as I understand, they're like obviously they're an organization that has a committee that chooses award winners. And awards are based on opinions. We know that they are subjective. And the Grammys are a big deal. Maybe the biggest award show in all of the music industry, I think. Anyone who's in the music industry can let me know. But I think they are. And when they put their nominations out, they put out like maybe 5 people who are nominated to win an award. So let's say the best rap album, they'll name 5 artists and their album. And then those are only 5 people who could possibly win. So if you're not one of the people who is nominated for the award, you know that you're not going to win the award because you're not in the nominations. So when the nominations came out this year, at least this is the first time that I've seen this. I don't know if it's happened before, but when the nominations came out this year, actually I'm pretty sure it's happened before. But now that we have social media and all the things being talked about, this especially this year when it comes to women, women of color, and black people, there were some people, some females and some black people making noise about the fact that some of the nominations did not feature either a female or a person of color. And people were making noise about this, and artists were making noise themselves about their own albums. Fans were making noise about the fact that somebody got snubbed, and this is something that the snubs is not a new thing. Being a basketball fan, any of you who is, every year when the All-Star rosters come out and the players get picked for the All-Star games, only 12 people on each side, there's always the conversation of who was the biggest snub for the All-Star game. Who's the person that was most deserving of making the All-Star team who didn't actually make the All-Star team? And that conversation is actually very oxymoronic because nobody's deserving of making an All-Star team unless you actually make it. All right, so there are no snubs for the All-Star game. There's only 12 roster spots. You're not a snub if you didn't make it. You just didn't make it. It's just the way that it works. But the whole point is that scoreboards don't have opinions. That's today's topic. So I'm going to explain to you why, even though I'm a person who I recognize the value of being on lists and having people's opinions favorable of you and getting the trophy and getting these subjective decisions going in your favor, those things can help. I talked about this back in episode number 435, why you should care about rankings, top lists, and subjective opinions. I did a whole episode telling you why you should care about these. At the same time today, I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't put so much weight into them when they don't go in your favor simply because you can't control them. So you'll be a fool. So even though you understand they're valuable and you want to get on them, you'll be a fool to put all of the weight of your success on them because you can't control them. Everybody following what I'm saying? And I didn't even get into my points yet. I already gave you value, but that's what we do here at this show. But let's get into it so I can give you even more. Number 1, today's topic, once again, scoreboards don't have opinions. Do not base your success on the opinions of a few, such as award committees, because those are committees. The award is not The Grammy Award is not voted on by the overall fans. The award committee is a group of people, a small, relatively speaking, group of people who get to decide who won. I don't know who they are. I don't know how big the group is, but I know it ain't the majority of human beings on the planet. So don't base your success on their opinion. Don't base your success on what one boss says about you if that boss happens to not be feeling you, because there are other bosses out there and maybe you could become the boss. You cannot control, nor can you depend on changing other people's opinions. What other people think is not really your business. In some areas it is. If you're a salesperson and you have prospects, what they think about your product does matter. That is your business. But in the overall big picture, what most people think about you and whether they're thinking about you at all is not your business. All right? You cannot control other people's opinions. And even if you know about people's opinions, you can't depend on your ability to change them. And very rarely does a person change their opinion when they're told that they should think something different. Have you ever done it? Exactly. It is a never-ending job to engage with opinions, but it's also exhausting and impossible if your goal is to change them. So if you like engaging with other people's opinions, you like going back and forth, you like being if you're an opinion, you write op-eds in the newspaper, or you go and put your opinions out on social media every single day to draw attention and get people to reply back to you and go back and forth with them, it's a never-ending job. You will always have work if you're the type of person who likes to engage with people based on their opinions on certain topics. And the more hot button the topic, the more opinions there will be. And there are certain topics, there will always be opinions. Anything that involves race, politics, or religion, you talk about that, there will always be opinions and people will always engage with you. So if you want a full-time job that will never end, just get on the internet and talk about one of those 3 topics. Ideally, talk about all 3. I wouldn't suggest it, but that's what you're into. The whole point is this: it is exhausting and it is impossible to change other people's opinions. If that's your goal, you will exhaust yourself on a mission impossible. Accept the fact that other people are going to have opinions that will not always go hand in hand with yours, and then use those opinions for energy if you like. If their opinions happen to be in your favor, use that for energy. If their opinions are against you, we just talked about this a couple days ago. What to do if you're not part of the in crowd? What to do if you're not part of this selected group? Use that fact for energy to push you towards kicking their ass if that's what you would like to do. Positive or negative energy can be used, but never, ever, ever measure your success or your failure by other people's opinions. That is a bad business idea. It is a terrible investment of your most valuable resources, known as time, money, attention, energy, and focus. Never give your most valuable resources to something that you cannot control, because you will not get any ROI. You'll get no return on investment. You make too many investments without getting any return. Eventually, you have nothing left to invest. When you have nothing left to invest, then the game is over. I mean, the real game is all the way over. And if you want to learn how to really get return on your investments and make the right investments that will get you that return, what you need to be doing is joining us at Work on Your Game University, which I'll tell you about later on today. But the link is workonyourgameuniversity.com, but I'll tell you later as we keep talking. Point number 2, today's topic is scoreboards don't have opinions. Number 2, this is why I like sports. Luckily, I was drawn towards sports as opposed to, being a musician or an artist or I don't know, what's another place where awards are based on opinions, like some type of, some world of literature or something like that. Even though I eventually got into literature, I didn't get into it to win awards. I got into it to get my books in the hands of people so I can get my message across. But what I like about sports, and anyone who knows anything about sports, you understand this concept. Sports is black and white. Now, at least the sports that have scoreboards. Now, we're not talking like figure skating. What's another one? Maybe boxing if it goes to the scorecards. Those are based on judges, and those are based on people's opinions. I don't like anything where my success is determined by the opinions of people. I don't care who the people are. Even if it was all the people. Maybe if it was all the people, then maybe I would feel a little bit different. But anything that's like there's some kind of committee or there's some group of people, I don't care if it's 50 people, 5 people, 1 person, 2 people, and they get to decide how good I am or how good I was or who's better between me and this person. I don't like that, because people can be biased. People could just be against me, or people might just have the opinion that I wasn't better than the other person, and then I end up losing based on somebody's opinion. If I lose, I want to lose because something that I did or something that I didn't do. I don't want it to be based on what somebody else thought. All right, I'm not into that at all. That's why I like any sport that has a scoreboard. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, track and field, there's a scoreboard. All right, whoever won is clear. All right, you watch the sprints or the marathon run or the long jump or a basketball game or a hockey game or a soccer match, it's clear who won. Now, some sports can end in a tie. Football, hockey, soccer, they can possibly end in a tie. But you get the point that I'm making here. There's a scoreboard and it says clearly who did what. All right, there's no opinion on it. The scoreboards don't have opinions. That's the whole point. The scoreboard is black and white, meaning it is fully objective. It just tells you the truth and nothing else. Unlike most human beings, the scoreboard just tells you the truth. It does not add to the truth. It does not take away from the truth. It does not massage the truth. It does not give you a bunch of different perspectives of the truth. It just tells you the plain facts of what happened. No human being is capable of doing that. Even though many human beings, when they're trying to convince you, will claim that that's what they're doing. No human being is capable of that. No human being is capable of being fully objective. A scoreboard is fully objective. As long as it actually has the accurate information, it is fully objective in what it tells you. No human being is that. Even though, as we're talking about sports here, I might be on a sports team and the coach of a particular team might not like me. He might not be feeling me. Maybe he doesn't like my game. Maybe he doesn't like my attitude. Maybe I said something on the internet 3 years ago that pissed him off and he doesn't like it. Who knows? The coach might not be feeling me in sports, but the thing is, I can get off that team. I can go into the open market, and the open market is not going to lie. Because, see, if I have value and I got something to add to the game, the open market will let me know that I got something to add to the game. See, this is why we talked about, on this show, we talked about the open market. We talked about marketing. In episode number 1515, the topic is, you are a marketer. I told you in episode number 1364 about rejection marketing, drawing people in by turning some people away. The market doesn't lie. Now, one coach or one boss or one business partner or one job, one situation that you might be in might tell you that you are not worthy or that you're not good enough or that something's wrong with you or that you need to change in order to create success. And you might really not like what that individual had to say. They may be very convincing. Maybe they're an authority. Maybe they have a long resume. Maybe they're a lot better than you, so what they said carries a lot more weight than what you think. But understand, if one person doesn't feel you in a certain situation, you can leave that situation, go out into the open market, and if you're actually good, the open market will make it clear that you're good. There are so many examples of this. Roy Jones Jr., a boxer who is a retired boxer now. He was in a quote-unquote boxing match with Mike Tyson in late November 2020. Some of y'all saw that. It wasn't much of a boxing match as far as I was concerned. It was pretty much a bad investment of time for the fans. But I mean, I guess it was a good investment. We wanted to see what was going to happen, but it ended up being a bad investment because the fight was terrible. But anyway, the point is, Roy Jones, when he was first coming up in boxing, he went to the Olympics. I don't remember which year. I think it might have been 1988. He went to the Olympics to box, and he was in the gold medal match, and he pretty much outpointed and kicked the ass of the person he fought in the gold medal match. But then he lost they went to the scorecards, to the judges, and he lost the fight. The other guy was given the gold medal, and Roy Jones was given the silver medal. And Roy Jones said he got robbed in that Olympics. And to this very day, people still say Roy Jones got robbed in that Olympics. And even Roy said he met the fighter who he had beaten shortly after the fight. And he said to that guy, hey, do you think you beat me? And the guy said, no, I didn't beat you. You beat me. But that guy was given the gold medal. But the whole point that I'm making here is Roy Jones lost the gold medal because of the opinions of those three judges for that boxing match. I don't know how many judges there are for Olympic boxing, but however many there are, their opinions went against Roy Jones. But Roy Jones, after that Olympics, he went pro, and Roy Jones became one of the greatest boxers of all time when he went pro. And the whole point is this. When he became a professional and started fighting his professional fights, and then he started stacking fight on fight on fight, some of them went to the decisions, some of them were knockouts. Roy Jones was in the open market, and the open market made clear Roy Jones is very good because he kept winning, and they kept putting him against other people, and he kept beating them, and he won championships, and he made money, and he built his name. The open market cannot be denied, okay? As we talked about not too long ago, the game will elevate you, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you don't get the results that you want in one specific situation. Episode 1665, I just said this, the game will elevate you. If your coach isn't feeling you and your coach is hating on you, I tell athletes this all the time, if you really believe your coach is hating on you, maybe they are, all right? Go get on a different team and prove that coach wrong. Go to the next level and prove that that coach didn't know what they were talking about. But if you are incapable of doing that, then that is the open market letting you know that maybe the coach wasn't hating. Maybe the coach was just telling you you weren't good because you're not. The game will always elevate those who have the actual skill. As the saying goes, the cream always rises to the top. So if you're actually good, it doesn't matter who hates on you. It doesn't matter who doesn't like you. It doesn't matter who's not feeling you. It doesn't matter whose opinion is against you. If you are actually good, the game will demand that you be brought forward. As DJ Khaled said, I talked about this in my book, Work on Your Game, a hit record cannot be stopped. If one radio station in your town hates you and they won't play any of your music because you used to date the DJ's girlfriend, listen, if that record is a hit record, every other radio station is going to play it, and it's going to get demanded so much that even the radio station that hates you and the DJ that's hating on you, they ain't got no choice but to play your record, because otherwise they'll lose their job. They don't, because your record is the biggest thing out there, and they got to play it to keep people listening. When you are really that good, the scoreboard will speak up for you. And sometimes the market, the open market, can be the scoreboard. So don't let one person's opinion or one situation that seems to not be working in your favor convince you that there's something wrong with you or that you're incapable of creating success. Even though one person may not be feeling you, maybe 3 people, maybe 10 people are not feeling you, go out into the open market and prove those X number of people wrong. But if you can't do it in the open market, then that should be telling you something about how you need to improve your own game. And we can help you with that at Work on Your Game University. The last college coach that I had, that coach wasn't really feeling me, and that was all right, because what did I do? I went into the open market. Went to the open market of professional basketball, showed my skills, and the open market said, okay, this guy can play. So that meant that deemed that last coach incorrect, because the open market said, all right, this guy's good. This guy can play. This guy's worthy of a contract. So we saw how that one turned out, because the open market was the scoreboard that didn't tell any lies. What all this means for you is when your success or failure is based on someone's opinion, you are on a seesaw that is all based on how other people feel about you. It's based on their emotions and their perception. And while, listen, we would all love to have everybody's favor all the time. That would be great, right? But it never happens. That's not what usually occurs in life for any of us. So accept the existence of opinions and then use them to either improve. Maybe somebody has an opinion of you that says you're not that good, and maybe they're right. And they can follow that up and tell you why you're not that good and what you need to get better at and how you can improve your game. I can tell you that. I can tell you how you can improve your game as something that you're working on. If my opinion is that you're not good, you need to get better, I will tell you how to get better. I'm not just going to point out that you're bad. I'm going to tell you how to improve. I'll help you with that. So sometimes you get a negative opinion about you and there's some merit to it. You should listen. But there are other times when someone gives a negative opinion about you just because they're hating or they're negative or they're just not capable of even telling you how to get better, then you need to go out into the open market and find out. In episode number 1316, I told you that correction is not criticism. When someone offers you something you can improve of, it's not that they're necessarily hating on you. Episode 1240, stop trying to avoid criticism. Episode number 957, how to earn your right to criticize. Episode 720, how to handle criticism. Don't be controlled by other people's opinions. I don't care if they're positive or negative. You don't want to get too high on other people's positive opinions, because the higher they can lift you up, the lower they can throw you down. Here's what you can do instead. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is scoreboards do not have opinions. Choose your measuring stick, or plural, measuring sticks. If you're an artist, for example, you're a painter or a musician, you want to win the awards, because winning that award is like one of the biggest marks that can go on your resume for your career. So I'm not telling you don't go after the award or don't try to win the award. Don't be happy when you win it. It's a great thing. If I was an artist, I would want to win a Grammy Award too. I would even want to get nominated. I can even put the nomination in my bio. Even if I don't win, I've been nominated 10 times. Didn't win, but I've been nominated 10 times. That's something, right? So if you're an artist, I'm not saying ignore the award that are based on opinions, but how about your real measuring stick, your real KPI, key performance indicator? How about it be the consumers and the fans who actually buy your music? I mean, that's who you make it for anyway, right? You don't make your music for committees and awards. You make your music for the fans and the artists who are, not the artists, the fans and the consumers who are cheering for you. The people who are actually listening to, buying and streaming your music, coming to your shows, wearing your merch. They have opinions too, right? And there's a much larger sample size than an awards committee. So sometimes in life, you want to focus on a small sample size, and maybe if you have a niche audience, you want to focus on their opinions because those are the people that you're really doing your work for. Everybody else wouldn't quite understand it. And that's when you want to focus on a small audience. But there are other times in life where the small audience is the committee whose opinion determines whether you get the award or not. And you may want to focus on a more macro audience, which is the consumers, the people who will go look at your art or listen to your music or watch your YouTube video. Those are the people who are letting you know, all right, are you giving something that they want or are you not? If they have opinions just like the people on the committee have an opinion, and that sample size being larger, maybe you can get a better idea of whether you're landing or not. Again, it depends on what your aims are and who you're aiming for. So this requires a little bit of context, and I can't say because I don't know you personally exactly what your situation is, but I think you should understand what I just said. The consumers, they act out of their own self-interest. In other words, they consume what they like. That's what consumers do. You're a consumer. Do you consume what you like? Do you watch TV shows that you don't like? No. You watch the things that you want to watch. You listen to the things that you want to listen to. So your actions show what you're interested in. Small sample size committees sometimes may have ulterior motives that may not have much to do at all with how they actually feel about your art. It might not have anything to do with that. Roy Jones, and when I heard him on Joe Rogan, posited that maybe the judges had been paid off to give the gold medal to the other guy when he lost that gold medal match in the 1988 Seoul, South Korea Olympics. So they had ulterior motives. So let's just say that's true. The judges had ulterior motives that had nothing to do with Roy Jones. They didn't care how good of a boxer Roy Jones was. All they were trying to do was get their money, and they knew what they had to do for him to get that money. The consumer is what matters and why you do what you do anyway, right? Isn't it ultimately, if you're in business, you do what you do for the consumer. You don't do it for the committee. You do it for the people who are actually consuming what you have, buying what you have, and supporting what you have. I'm using art as an example here today. It doesn't have to be with art, but I'm using art because art is very subjective. I could like a song and say this is one of the best songs I ever heard, and somebody else can say this artist is terrible. I hate this song. It is annoying. I don't want to hear this song ever again in my life, and vice versa. Right? Art is subjective in that way. But you make art, any of you who's an artist, you make art to express yourself and to connect that expression with the people who resonate with it, right? I mean, isn't that the very reason that you do it? Then you should be measuring your results, your success by that. With whom is your art resonating? Not what awards am I getting, what committees are approving of me, because many times for you to be approved of and given an award by a committee, you have to fit what the committee wants. And sometimes what the committee wants is not the same thing as what you want, nor is it the same thing as what the consumer wants. And that's a big, big distinction. If your consumer wants one thing and the committee wants another thing, and you got to decide what to do, which one are you going towards? Would you, quote unquote, sell out your consumers just so you can get an award? And hey, maybe you'll win the award, but now you don't have any fans anymore. Now your consumers are gone. Maybe they'll take you back, maybe not. Or would you say, you know what, fuck the committee. Fuck what the committee wants. I'm giving my consumers what they want. And listen, I went and sold 10 million records, so who cares if I didn't get a trophy? All right, the person who got the trophy, I sold 10 times more records than them. So who's actually better, me or them? You can look at it that way. You don't have to. I'm just offering you a suggestion. Just offering you a different perspective than maybe what you may have had up to this point. I mean, that's the whole point of this show. So let's recap today's class, which is scoreboards do not have opinions. When I saw the Grammy Award nominations come out and I saw artists and fans complaining that certain people didn't get nominated, it made me think about this fact that even in the sports world, sometimes people talk about this when they don't get certain awards, an MVP award, All-Star, they don't make the All-NBA team. They're not making something that's based on subjective opinions. Well, guess what doesn't have an opinion? The scoreboard. Point number one, do not base your success on the opinions of a few, like awards or a boss who might not like you. You can't control that. You can't control other people's opinions. It's a never-ending job to engage with opinions, and you'll never change them or fix them and get them to be yours. It's a bad business idea and a horrible investment. Number two, that's why I like sports. Black and white scoreboard is fully objective. It doesn't add anything, doesn't take anything away from the story. It tells you the entire story. What doesn't tell you the entire story, it tells you the facts, is what it tells you. There is no story when you're dealing with facts. Even though one coach might not feel you, the open market does not tell any lies. And while we would all love to have everybody's positive opinion all the time, that's not usually what happens. Any of you ever had everybody's positive favor all the time? Probably not. Don't be controlled by other people's opinions. You can use them to motivate you, but don't be controlled by them. Instead, point number three, choose your measuring sticks and base it on something that you actually have control over, unlike opinions, which are very volatile and you never control. If you're an artist, how about the consumers and the people who actually consume your stuff? They're the people you're making your work for in the first place. And guess what? Their opinions matter just as much as the committee people's opinions. They're human just like the people on the committee. And the consumer is the reason you're doing your work anyway. All right. Anything that's super subjective, focus on the consumers that you are resonating with, that your work is resonating with, and measure by that instead of measuring by a small group of people who you may have to appease just to get their approval. Fuck their approval. Get the approval of the people you're actually doing your work for. You had to decide who that is. You're ready to get really serious about nailing down a strategy for doing this and putting that strategy into action and getting real results, meaning getting paid for the work that you put out into the world and the game that you develop and the value that you're giving to others, you need to join me and everyone else at Work on Your Game University, where the first thing you're going to do is get the entire Work on Your Game system. Then you're going to join the committee. You're going to join the community, rather, not the committee. Fuck the committee. You're going to join the community, Work on Your Game community, and a bunch of other stuff that I'm not going to try to list out here. Just go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, see it for yourself, and I'll see you inside. Work on your game. Dre all day.